all of them?
Hey, help. Let's go.
Okay.
That's what I did. Let's find out.
Matt's going to find out.
Yeah, sometimes you have to, you know.
For the people on TikToks, please, we do this once a month. Please start loading in the comments on TikTok. If you guys have any questions, kilts or culture related, we are here, your humble servants, as always, to give you our answers. For everybody else on the YouTubes and the Facebooks that have seen us a billion freaking times, howdy.
Can't check Twitch. Everything else is good.
Howdy.
Okay, we'll just pretend we're good on Twitch. So
I hope we're good on Twitch because I use that later. So
yes.
when we can confirm that's good.
So we'll make sure Adam knows that we're good on Twitch right now, somewhere out there. So who? What?
Great to see Eric once more. It's one of our first.
It's not me.
Yes. Oh,
It's a lie.
they love you. They really love you, or something.
I am
He's back from
Eric. That is correct. Hello. Welcome to Kilt Time.
Howdy.
Ha 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 ha.
Yo.
Ha 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 ha.
Exactly.
Yo.
We broke into a Chuck E. Cheese and just reskinned the main rack.
5
It's
nights
all
at
good.
Rocky's.
Yes. What I want to know is, as a brand, who thought it was a good idea? They're like, hey, we're gonna have a petri dish for kids. Let's make a rat our logo.
Apparently he was a compromise.
Rat and cheese. Okay.
I saw a thing on this at one point. He was a compromise choice. He was not supposed to be the original character for the franchise.
It's a compromise, all right.
Yeah, yeah.
So, all right.
So, okay. Now let's
start?
Let's start for real. Okay.
Very good. Howdy, boys and girls. Welcome to Kilts and Culture. I am Rocky. As always, this is Eric.
Yo!
Today, special treat. We have Cleveland Underground rye whiskey finished with black cherry wood. It doesn't really have a title other than this big, long, like, secondary book title. This is given to us by our friend, Sean Smith. So, howdy, Sean. Thank you very much. We are going to be trying... Oh, shoot. I forgot to do the thing. Whoops. Hold on. We have, for this month...
Oh,
this is
the
going
trick.
really slow today.
Yeah.
I think I'm old and
I think
weak.
you gotta get your thigh
Wheaties.
sizer thing
Yeah.
and start exercising.
Yeah, it's like more drag for some reason. Anyway, here we go. This is what we're drinking. Who has the tasting notes? Is that Mr. Ian or
It's not
Mr.
me.
Eric?
I don't have them.
Sure. There should be a piece of paper somewhere. With,
Now I thought of a
notes.
joke to go with that for the intro. You do it. You riff on Norwegian wood. Once I had a whiskey, something, something, something.
something, something, something. It's a great joke.
It's
dude.
a work in
something,
progress.
Something,
Black cherry wood.
Okay.
Yeah. George Harrison was the best Beatle, by the way.
Good to know.
I might be biased.
Trying to be a little equal. There we go.
It's very dark.
It is.
That's a
That's
super
the cherry
dark.
wood.
Yeah, I reckon.
Are bourbons generally darker than
That I do
scotches?
not know. I wouldn't think so, but I don't know.
I feel like they are. I feel like the ones we've tried are.
Okay.
So, I don't know. All right, Mr. Ian, if you want to come around and collect your glass, pretty please. And while you are jumping onto camera, we'll say what tartans we're wearing today. Eric, what do you have on?
I'm not wearing a tartan.
He's not wearing a tartan. That's
I'm
what he
wearing
has to say.
tweed. You guys have probably seen me in this before, but it's one of my favorites. And just really like how the blue on this
Yeah,
picks up
the blue in
for
it.
the
Yeah.
Highland shirt or grandfather shirt. Yeah.
Nice.
So, yep.
Mr. Ian?
We just finished editing. Oh, sorry.
I've got the Pennsylvania State Seal tartan on, designed by the Raegers themselves.
Indeed. The one, the only.
We'll give Kelly the credit.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, that one was mine. When we did the State Seal
okay.
collections, we split them in half. And I got to do Pennsylvania. She
So
got
you're-
the ones with more color that she wanted to do.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Gotcha. You did the boring ones.
I am wearing the brand new Celtic Nations Muted Tartan. We did a custom run of it. It was just finished about a few weeks ago. We've been sending out the kilts at a fast, furious pace. So this is the Celtic Nations Muted. We have enough for like 4 kilts, I think, left. We over-ordered the cloth on purpose just to have
Right.
a buffer,
Like
so
you
to
do.
speak. Indeed. So, Mr. Eric, here you go, sir. This is for Michal. And do you have the tasting notes, Mr. Ian, or no?
I do.
Or nosing notes first, and bring yourself in. There you go. Look at his pretty face down there.
So for tasting notes, The spiciness of a 95% rye mash bill, coupled with our unique finishing capabilities, yields a totally new twist on rye whiskey. Cleveland Underground rye whiskey, finished with black cherry wood, starts lightly sweet, with notes of mellow oak, giving way to creamy vanilla and butterscotch, with undertones of baking spice and a candy-like, fruit-forward finish. Soft on the front, spice on the way down, with the linger of dried cherries on the palate.
Very good.
I ain't got the taste buds to pick all that up. We'll see how it goes.
It's a bit cinnamony smelling to me, a little bit.
I can get the cherry.
Yeah, maybe it's
There's a
cherry
little bit of a
cinnamon.
cough syrupy.
Yeah.
Cherry scent.
Make sure the top mic is pointed at his chest. The bottom mic is on. I'm just pointing that. Okay. So, the Eric, what are you getting? Ian is back there playing around with the computers, so we're gonna leave him off for a minute. But what are you getting on the nose? Anything?
I was saying I am getting a cherry.
Okay.
I do get a cherry. A little bit of cherry, a little bit of floor wax.
It's a little hairspray smell and touch.
That's just the alcohol, I think.
Yeah,
Because we've
fair.
said that before, but...
Mac usually says it. This time I'm getting it.
Oh,
Okay.
it's a shame what happened to Mac.
Yes. Since Eric wasn't here for the 1 month and we were playing clips where he wasn't here from 2 months earlier, there was, exaggerations of his death or...
Yes, reports of my death have been greatly exaggerated.
Yes, that. You said it much better than I did. He's still alive. Look.
Ow.
It's him.
Ow.
It's really him. So, all right. Let's take a little sippy poo.
Pretty burning.
Bernie, I get high back of
definitely
the
rough.
throat. Like, I get it.
Oh, I just felt it go down my esophagus. Hit right here.
I can feel it going down.
Smooth.
Like lava in broken glass. No, I get I taste it much further back in my, almost in the throat.
That's purely for effect. Yeah, I think it needs to breathe. You did not let that
Yeah, that's a
bottle
good point.
breathe.
That's a good
I think
point.
it needs to breathe.
Touch of water.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that too.
Let's give it a drop.
Just
It's got legs.
a wee drop.
It's got long legs.
But does it know how to use them? I don't know.
Indeed. God rest our buddies in ZZ Top. Because they're my buddies for some reason. I've never met them. All right. Yeah. Definitely a little Bernie-esque.
Yeah. I mean,
But again,
I
I'm
get-
not a big bourbon guy.
There's
so-
a good flavor in here. I think the cherry is pretty good. It's definitely there, and I'm getting a little bit of vanilla. But you always get vanilla, right? It is the finest of the flavors, but I'm not sure.
Bring yourself into Ian. Ian's back now.
What up, party people?
Ta-da.
Some oakiness I'm getting.
Yeah, get a little bit of oak.
Which doesn't make sense because it's cherry cask, but it's a woody, woody.
Cherry wood.
cherry
it's
oak?
I was gonna say I don't really get the normally when it's oak I get like a burn all the way down, like heartburn immediately. I'm not getting that from this, which is a good thing for me, especially for a 2-hour show. Ian, are you getting any of the flavor notes?
I was sick very recently, so I'm not sure that I'm in the best position to
Wow,
judge.
that's a cure, yeah.
Yeah, it does taste very medicinal. I'll give it that.
You see, that's not a good thing, though.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. It's like the burniness is that medicinal.
The wood is strong in this one.
Yeah, the water
I
cut
agree.
the burniness down.
Does it?
Definitely,
I haven't tried
definitely
adding
say
any water
that.
yet.
Definitely cut it down a little bit, so it's giving me more flavor. But it's very I don't know how to describe it. I'm not tasting
I'm not
the
getting
flavor
half
on
the-
my tongue.
Well, I'm not getting.
It's more like in my nose that I'm tasting it. Than
I'm getting it
my
like on the
tongue.
sides. The cherry that I picked up on the nose is less prominent now. It's mostly just it's a woody flavor, a little fruity. I'm not getting the spice that they say is there.
See, I guess I'm the opposite. I'm not getting any of the sweet, but I am getting a little bit of the spiciness and the woodiness.
I'm getting both.
I'm not saying it's sweet. I'm not saying it actually
Yeah.
is sweet, but I'm getting more of I'm getting the fruit wood flavor to put it in a very generic sense, but
Yeah.
I'm not getting a little peppery.
But they were talking in the notes about like the vanilla and the butterscotch, and I'm not getting that.
I don't know if I'm getting that either. I'm getting this might sound weird. All my descriptions sound
Why
weird.
stop
So
now?
yeah, why start sounding normal now? It's my tongue is like salivating a little bit with it. Mm-hmm. It's forcing it, like when I'm drinking scotch. It's just I'm drinking it and I just don't notice it. But this is like
It's giving you a reaction.
yeah.
Maybe you're allergic to it.
Yeah, my throat's closing up. It's fine, guys. It'll just be a short show. Don't worry.
He's allergic to cherries. Yeah, it's okay. I think my wife would like it, but it'd be a bit burny for her too. It would make a good old fashioned.
With the
I know you're not supposed to use rye, but
with a few drops, it's cut out the burny. I think
well,
it would be
again,
okay.
it needs to breathe. There is some flavor in here.
Yeah.
It's rough.
Yeah, I think it would be, if you like bourbon, there's a good chance you would like this. This has flavor, it has profile, it has interest, and with the touch of water, it definitely cut down the alcohol burn that you get.
Yeah,
for me at least.
it definitely has legs.
Yeah, it does have
Really.
nice legs.
Yeah.
Legs meaning
Big time.
the runners down the side of the glass.
And the color is beautiful.
Yeah, color is beautiful.
But you
Give it
can't
that.
drink color.
Love the caramel.
Not with that attitude.
Tastes like purple. Ralphie Wiggum, underappreciated member of The Simpsons.
Getting a comment here about sounds astringent. I think that's a good word for my
Stringent is
experience
good.
with
Yeah,
it.
it is a bit like that.
Okay.
Yeah, a little bit. It is peppery, but I'm not getting cinnamon. I'm not really getting vanilla either. I think you can fool yourself into thinking you taste vanilla or butterscotch. That's why they're in
Yep.
every single tasting note. You know what I mean? So, but
Except in butterscotch. We should
Oddly
actually see
enough.
if butterscotch, like if it's on the box, like a hint of butterscotch, an overpowering aroma of butterscotch.
a hint of whiskey.
It's like a USA Kilts package. It always comes with a little bit of butterscotch.
and schnozberries.
Exactly. All right. Very good. Ian, how do you like it? We're going to score it 1 to 10.
I don't feel like I'm in a good place to judge it here. It's fine. I want to come back to this one again. Do I have to give a score? Can I skip a score this
No.
time? Ah.
No, that's the rules.
For 10.
I'll go 4 just because I'm not experiencing it great, but I'd be open to coming back to it and revisiting.
Okay.
I'll take the bottle with me when I go home and get to it when I get
Fair point.
You want to get another chance.
Mr. Eric.
Just remember, Sean's going to come visit you. He's going to demand your opinion.
I just spent Easter weekend with Sean.
I'm going to...
The nose softened a lot with the water too, and or letting it breathe for 10 minutes.
Both. I'll give it 5.2.
Okay.
I think it needs a chance to relax. But it has it has some sweetness. Yeah, I'm picking up more of the sweetness now. But I do kind of like the cherry wood flavor. I'm not getting all those nuances, but it's nice. It's all right.
Yeah, letting it rest for 10 minutes has definitely improved it.
Yep. Yeah, we're just too impatient with any of this stuff.
Well, it's for the show. It's for the grams, as the kids
Well,
say.
we should do it at the middle of the show. Then we open the bottle at the beginning, and then half hour later
Well,
we do the tasting.
if you only open it here, there's only that much air getting in. You have
Okay,
to
so open and pour.
open and pour, and then yep, exactly. Then you rest. Never mind.
For science.
Yes, exactly. It's all for science. All right, I would give it 4.8. Like it's if I was at a party, this wouldn't be the first one I would go to, but it wouldn't be the last one I would go to.
Right. So
It's in the middle,
pretty middle of the road with this one,
slightly below the average.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Indeed. All right. Very good. Thank you very much, Sean.
Yeah.
We love you very much.
And as I do appreciate trying to support small local
Oh yeah, absolutely.
artisanal distilleries. So
Indeed. All right, boys and girls, load your comments, questions, whatever you got in the old comment section there, and we will answer your questions.
okay.
As always, we are your humble servants. Mr. Ian, you collect. Mr. Eric, what's our first preloaded / unanswered question from last show?
Well, before you do the questions, Harold Connell wanted us to please extend his and hopefully our best wishes to Her Majesty the Queen on the occasion of her Platinum Jubilee, which we are celebrating as of yesterday.
Bully.
Where's that?
Bully, bully.
Yeah. Jolly good.
Charge your glass, sir.
Yeah.
To the Queen.
The Queen.
What's the 70? What's the Jubilee? How many years do we know?
When she came to the throne in like 53 or something.
Okay. Or if it was 52, that would be 70 years.
Yeah.
So I think that's it.
Yeah, I think it's 52.
It's a long time to
Longest sitting monarch, I think, in history now at this point.
It's the longest reigning ever.
Yeah.
Not just sitting, but reigning ever. No, it's sitting meaning she's not dead. But is it the longest?
Yeah, when you say
one to
sitting is okay. So longest reigning monarch.
I meant like current one.
Yeah.
But it's
And she is the great granddaughter of old Queen Vic. So
indeed, quite.
yeah. So let me do a question now.
Cheerio, Governor.
Um,
I gotta get all my worst Britishisms out.
Well, I'm gonna dive right into silliness here. Okay.
Why stop now?
So coming to you live from the edge of the fashioned cliff. We're gonna teeter on the edge here. These are from our friend Will Ersprung, and he asked us a combo of 3 questions. So I'm gonna throw them at you, and then we'll answer them individually. Can you wear A, bolo tie with a kilt, B, tie-dye with tartan, C, a Jerry Garcia necktie with a kilt? And I think Will is flashing back to his hippie days or something with those. So
a bad trip.
Yep. So okay.
I think I'm having a bad trip right now.
Bolo tie.
Think about these things.
Can you? Should you? Would you? Wear a bolo tie with a kilt?
Could it work? Insofar as there could be a parallel universe to ours, and somewhere along that timeline, someone could have done something like that to make it work. Sure. Would I ever do it? No.
Okay.
I know you differ a bit on me on the bolo tie being from out west.
A little bit, but yeah.
It's crossing the streams for all of these things. But I'll start with the bolo tie.
Okay. So you want my opinion, or is that? I've done it. Full confession, I've done it, but I've only done it.
Hired you?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Honestly, I did this after you hired me. First time I did this was for the company Christmas party a few years ago at the Kimberton Inn.
Do I remember this?
Apparently not.
Apparently not.
It was that elegant and that subtle you didn't even notice.
It's a skinny tie.
Yeah, basically that's the answer. Is basically small and simple design. I think you get away with it with a waistcoat. I would not wear it without a waistcoat. Basically, you want to minimize the effect, so it's just a little bit of a splash, a little bit of a ping there. I have a few bolo ties. I inherited most of them. So the one I wore with my kilt, I think it was with Sterling Tartan, or it was one of my blue tartans. Okay. Is very simple Navajo style with one single piece of turquoise in the center. I also have, like, for those of you who know what I'm talking about, I have a Zuni inlay style eagle dancer, which I inherited from my dad, and it's about like that fucking big. So that like big old giant eagle dancer or something like that with a kilt, that would look really weird. Really kind of odd. So I'd say you could get away with it's always degrees. On this side, I will come down on subtlety is okay. If you're thinking like tiny little bolo ties like you have in the 80s and that kind of thing, a small one, you could maybe get away with it. But if you're talking like, king of the rodeo, in gold and silver and everything, nah.
Nefertiti.
It's not going to work.
Big old honking thing.
So that's my answer to that.
Okay.
But bolos are part of my family heritage, so
tie-dye shirt.
I won't rule them out. Nope.
Nope. Maybe if you're not with tartan. If you're wearing like a utility kilt or something like that.
That wasn't the question.
I know it's not. I'm trying to give a little bit.
Yeah.
Trying not to be so negative.
If you're going to Burning Man in your utility kilt and tie-dye, then that's not really our bailiwick.
Yeah.
So fine,
Yeah.
you do you.
It's not tradition.
But with a
anyway.
traditional tartan kilt, it's just like
With any tartan kilt, whether it's tradition or not. But the yeah, ooh, yeah, my eyes hurt.
yeah, exactly. I'm sure somebody out there will say like, what if the colors are kind of harmonizing? You know, like if you have blue in both of them, or is it like nah?
Nope.
It's just odd. I would not, because you're going. We always say it's a difference between like, are you going with grandular lines like you have in the tartan, or you're going with round blobby shapes, and that's what we're talking about here.
Or stripes.
Yeah.
It's
Or-
you're
yeah.
you're mixing patterns.
Exactly.
Are you doing
You're-
argyle?
Yep.
Are you doing plaid or tartan? Are you doing stripes? Are you doing houndstooth? There's certain ones that you can mix a little bit.
Right.
But tie dye is not among them.
Nope.
I don't care whether the colors work or not. It's still no.
Yeah, it's just you're mixing rounds and squares. It's just geometrically it doesn't work, and it will probably open a fissure in the space-time continuum. So I really don't recommend it.
Yes, you're putting a square
Sorry.
peg in or a round peg in a square hole.
Okay, last one, dude. Like you're going to the Dead show and you got your Jerry Garcia tie. And you wear that with
would
the
you
tartan
wear
kilt.
a tie to a Dead show?
I have opinions about deadheads, so I shouldn't go there. But
I have a lot of opinions. I shouldn't go there on a lot of things.
I couldn't even remember what the heck they look like.
No, it's like an artsy.
Yeah,
like
it's like paint splot. Ian's nodding like he's just like
Yeah.
kind of like
it is the type of tie you would expect an old stoner to invent or design in the 1980s.
It's like a lava lamp. They're kind of lava lampy. They're very swirly color. I mean, they're cool. They're very electric colors, but
yeah, but it's also the 80s like neon color time frame as well as the
90s.
hippie-
Really,
Was it 90s?
I think they
Or
came
was
out in the 90s, but there's still a lot of weird color
Yeah.
stuff in the 90s. But it's just too electric and too. I don't. How the heck would you match the colors in one of those ties to the palette of a tartan? I don't think you could do it.
It's too much going on. Ian.
Think of these as very late 90s, early 2000s. 'Cause
Exactly.
that's when I owned a couple of them.
Did you really?
I did.
Oh, and we
In
hired
middle-
you?
Yeah.
God, we need a question.
Well, I
on-
was young.
You
I
bastard.
was in middle and high school at the time. I was doing a lot of jazz band performances. And
You're
I
in
had a
jazz
couple,
band?
Yeah.
Where'd you
Played
play?
the baritone saxophone.
I was just about to say, I bet he played the sax.
He was a saxophone player.
Yeah, I had a couple of those ties. I liked them quite a bit. I feel they feel like of a time, and I don't think I'd wear them even now. I'm definitely not with a kilt. But
It's the bell bottoms of ties.
And Matt, our tech guy, is over here, and he just put up the whiteboard and said, "I had one too."
it's not for old guys. Sorry.
Dude, we need to add that question to
Yeah.
the interview process. Have you ever owned a Jerry Garcia or a Bolo tie? Would you wear it with a kilt? The answer is yes. They're out.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. That's funny.
For the record,
yeah.
I have worn neither. Kind of proud of that
Yeah,
now.
it's funny because I'm enough of a clothes horse that I've got like a styled necktie from pretty much almost every decade that neckties have been a thing.
Fair.
But I do not have a Jerry Garcia tie, nor shall I ever have one. So
Indeed.
if you want to look like there's a melting ice cream cone on your neck, fine, go for it.
It's like a dolly necktie. I like the melting
Yeah,
clocks
man.
and
Yeah. I could see rocking it with like a white suit going to the surrealist art gallery opening. You know
sure,
what I mean?
that yes, not with a kilt.
But not with a kilt. No. And again, it's because it's kind of the blobby thing. It's you get this flowy thing and then the rigidity of tartan. It just doesn't. You're crossing the line, I think.
Okay, here now as
This is more information than any of you guys really wanted to know.
Nope, don't care. Going off the rails. Starting off the rails. We're going to parallel park this train. So, here's the question then. So, for what if, as an art piece, so to speak, outside of bounds of Highland wear, forget that. You're going to wear a like tartan suit, plaid head to toe. One of those like mismatched, pieced together tartan,
You mean
jackets.
like you owned when you were super into the Bosstones?
No, that was a full just Royal Stewart. I mean,
Okay.
like a patchworky kind of one. The sleeve is one tartan. This is another tartan. The pockets. were
Yeah,
another.
but that's art.
Would
That's
you
just
do
weird.
that with a Jerry Garcia tie? And
Why not?
I don't know, a feather bonnet or something.
Why not? At that point, why not? Because you're totally outside the realm of what we're talking about. At that point, the tartan is just an abstract widget you're using, a color pattern in your art project of an outfit. So
At that point, I think I would. What would you call it? The fashion cliff?
the fashion cliff.
I think I would nudge that person off the fashion
Bing.
cliff. I'd say, "Whoop,
Yep.
Whoops. Boop. Sorry. Okay. All right, Mr. Ian. Next question, pretty please.
So we had a comment on that last one before we move on.
I'm sure we
I'm
did.
not going to say their name because their name is longer than their comment, but
a lot
they
better.
said they would not even eat Ben and Jerry's while wearing a kilt. That's how far they go in terms of that.
That's a very fair point.
Yeah.
No.
You spoke about derailing a moment ago. I'm going to derail a little bit here too. We forgot to do something before we got into our first question and address the question of
Okay,
the month.
Benjamin Disraeli.
I'll laugh like I know what you meant.
All right.
Good.
We ask at the end of every episode, we ask a question of the month, for the month. And then you're supposed to comment and tell us your thoughts and feelings and all that good stuff. And then we kind of collect them and then we regurgitate it back at you. So here's us
Like a seagull we do.
regurgitating at you. You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks for the reminder. Yeah.
And the visual. So, question of the month last month was, what weird or unusual stuff do you keep in your sporn?
Mm-hmm.
We usually give like top 3. So, Carl R. said, I often end up carrying one thing in my sporn that I don't need or use, my wife's phone. Any guy who goes out with a significant other who ends up with their keys, their phone, their lipstick, whatever the hell, in your sporn, yes.
Yep.
I feel
That's
you.
happened to me.
I feel you, brother.
That's happened to me.
2, from Jesse. Actually, I'll do this one from Cameron. A couple of similar comments from Cameron White and Joe Groves. Finally, I always carry my share of USA Kilts business cards. So, thank you. Whatever you ordered. So this is like mini plug, not really meant to be a plug, but it's going to end up being a plug. Whatever you order that we send out, we send a few business cards and some candy with the hopes that you are satisfied with the order and you will pass on our business cards to other people. There is no better.
Here you go, Sonny.
Oh, thank you, sir. I'll save it with my baseball cards from 1987. There's no better referral or no better advertisement than a customer referral, than people who care enough and like us enough that they tell other people about us. So thank you guys for that. Number 3, as for making room in the sporn, clip the pocket knife inside the waistband of the kilt and put a novelty J-hook on your keychain to do the same. So clip that on your belt as well.
I've done both of those
Yeah.
over the years. I mean, I used to do the carabiner. Put the carabiner either on the kilt belt loop or on my sporn chain more commonly, which is kind of cool because you can slide it around back and forth as needed. But keys on a carabiner is a nice way to make them easier access.
Absolutely.
Not nice looking. I wouldn't do that if I was trying to look nice, but for day in day out here at the shop and stuff, just like pop it on the chain. So
it's you want to make sure it's a balance. You don't want to be Batman with a utility belt, all kinds of stuff all the way around you.
Right.
But having quick access to a little pocket knife or your keys or whatever you need. I do that every single morning. I tuck my I have a snowboard shaped bottle opener or can opener, whatever it is. Yeah, bottle opener. On my keychain, and I tuck that in my belt. So that way when I get out of the car, I don't have to use, dig in my sporn for my key to open the door. Just whoosh, right there.
Yep. It's kind of like one of our salespeople downstairs, Jillian, is seriously into Victorian fashion, and she actually wears a chatelaine with her kilted skirts. And she actually went, and we have the digital key fob for the door for the building. Just like you hold it and go beep, and it unlocks. She actually made a chain for her chatelaine, and carved, like Sculpey carved a little gargoyle head. So it's like this little decorative gargoyle head on a chain, but if you flip it over, it gets the electronic key fob. I was like, that's cool.
Nice.
But yeah, so there's a number of ways to do it. I do think that guys don't take advantage of the bagpiper utility pouches as much. Those are handy, and I know that a lot of guys struggle with just the size of cell phones these days. And they're too big. I specifically didn't go with the latest model of phones the last time I went phone shopping because I knew I wouldn't be able to fit in my sporn. And also it's just too big for me anyway. But it's like, the answer to that is a belt pouch, I think.
It's
more than one that's going to look goofy, but
it is a utilitarian thing. I myself, I understand the need for it or the desire for it and to carry all kinds of stuff. I don't like it. So I end up, my phone's tall, but it barely fits in the sporn. Make sure it's facing, the screen is facing the back of the sporn, jammed all the way down.
Yeah, that's good.
And I can get it closed, but it's snug.
Yeah.
But it's, I can't. the belt pouch thing. I end up like hooking it on things. I used to have a cell phone case that I would keep on my belt.
Yeah.
But it always like caught on things. So I just forget it.
And again, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't use one if I was trying to look nice, but for practical loadout on a daily basis.
Agreed.
So,
Yep.
there you go.
You know, form versus versus beauty, or form versus function.
Yeah, form
versus function.
Yeah.
In that instance.
The expression is form follows function, but yeah.
Yes, I know, but I'm saying it's the balance of form and function.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Rabbit hole enough. Thank you for listening. Ian, question.
Let me get into a question here. So from Mike Simpson. He says, I'm off to Skye in July. I assume he means the Isle
Very nice.
of. Walking
He's
from...
not just launching in a rocket.
Yeah. He did spell
Off
it
to
with
the sky.
He's got the lawn chair with the balloons on it. Stiga!
He did spell it with the E at the end, so I assume it's the Isle of. But apparently he's walking from Coruscant and hopefully climbing the in-pin, the hardest of the Munros. I've just picked up an Isle of Skye wool 8-yard to wear. I hope it was from here. So what advice can you give on hiking, wild camping, and a kilt?
I wouldn't use an 8-yard, personally.
Well,
that's just me, but
it depends on his dispendable income.
I'm hard on clothes.
Yeah. Yeah, that.
That sounds like a fantastic trip, though.
Yeah.
Oh
absolutely.
my gosh, you're not going to want to come home. That
Yep.
sounds fantastic. But we've offered advice like this before, and I can say what I would usually say. But you go first.
No, you go first. I'm trying to think of something.
Oh no, you go first.
No, different and original.
I'll go first. Oh, different and original. I personally prefer now. It's July, but it's also Isle of Skye, so it might still be cold, cool, whatever.
yeah.
So a wool kilt might be fine. My personal preference is to go with a polyviscose kilt, basically because weight equals pain. And I'm not a young spring chicken anymore, so lighter is better for me. I also like, I can only speak to our products because that's what I know, but our casual kilt, which is polyviscose, has a Velcro closure. I like how smooth it is, so I don't have buckles and straps digging into my backpack's belt, or if I'm wearing a belt, I might have a web belt on when I'm hiking, but usually that's it. I like the smoothness, the flatness of it, and the easy care of it, because you can roll it up in your pack when you're on the plane. It's easy to wash, easy to care for, and it's not too hot. So that's my basic thought, is that type of kilt. And again, as we've said before, if you're going to wear a sporran, move it off to the side. But honestly, if you're using a backpack, you may not even want to have the sporran at all. I personally will eschew having a sporran a lot of the time. If it's just a day hike, sure, fine.
Yeah, that's the question I was going to ask Ian. Did you say if it's a day hike, like a bunch of day hike trips, or is he like camping outside?
It might be one day, but it's going to be a serious hike.
He didn't get too specific, but he did suggest wild camping
Yeah.
one of his
Okay.
aspects.
Then I would say this: bring a pair or two of athletic shorts, like the. Ian's like yes, that you can. It's lightweight, dry fast kind of thing. Shove in the backpack. That way, overnight you lay the kilt out. You want it to dry and gas off, kind of thing. Or if it's a really, really, really hot day and you're just like, oh, I really don't want to wear a freaking kilt today because it's too hot and it's 8 yards of wool, then just throw on the other, the lighter weight shorts and, go around in that.
I will say an 8-yard kilt could be a cool accessory once you are in camp, like throw it on top of the sleeping bag. My wife and I tend to be fairly heavy campers, and so we usually have an extra wool blanket or something on us, like an old army blanket, and having a little extra layer is sometimes nice.
Who was it that went to Celtic Classic with us when we did a Kilt Festival? We would get a suite, and we stay there, the 6 of us or whatever it is, in the hotel suite, and one of them didn't have a blanket and ended up sleeping under. I think it was Mac. I want to say it was Mac. He just kind of like laid out his 8-yard kilt and slept underneath it. I've done it. Last year I did it.
Mac has done that at World War I reenactments also.
Yeah.
Where it's just like it's it's really hot during the day, and then he goes to bed, and all of a sudden in the middle of the night it's like freezing. So it's just like you throw that kilt on top of your blanket. Yeah. So I would say if you want to do a great kilt for this hike, that'd be cool. Pretty freaking hardcore and awesome. But from a practical standpoint, I would think about the gear you're taking otherwise and work your way outward. Like again with the sporran, if your fire starting kit or whatever you use for that, and your phone and all that kind of stuff doesn't have to go in a sporran, isn't going to fit in a sporran, then don't use a sporran. If you're worried about being cold, then yeah, go with the wool. If you're worried about mobility and weight, then go with a lightweight kilt. Boots, obviously, whatever your choice of boots is concerned.
I would say
Everything else is just, it's whatever you normally use for hiking.
Yeah. I would say this as well. If you have a day, let's say you're hiking for 4 days, and you have one day where it's, whatever, and you don't want to be wearing your kilt, I would do the roll your kilt trick, and then have some of the straps around it, and put it on the back of the either the top of the back of the bag or the bottom of the back of the bag, like you would your
strap your blanket,
your mat that you sleep on, or roll it up in the mat you sleep on.
That's a
to
thought.
Protect it as well as be able to
Maybe.
carry it and not have to worry about shoving it in the bag and getting it all wrinkled and stuff.
I will say still insect repellent.
Yes.
Last time we talked about this and somebody hiking in Scotland. I think that video
Midges.
actually went live. The clip went live like last week or so. And yeah, midges. The midges.
A lot of comments about midges.
Yep. They will. They bite. Biting gnats essentially is what they are.
They will destroy you.
They will find you and they will hurt you.
Yep.
So, indeed, enjoy the midges. All right, mystery. Eric, what do we got next?
Timothy Patrick Bridge. Howdy. This is a technical problem, body fit problem. It says, I have a hard time finding tall kilt hose. I'm not terribly tall, just 6'1", but I usually end up having to stretch my kilt hose for all they're worth and then barely get them to fold over my flashes properly. Most also seem a bit too thin. My pasty white calves show visibly through the knit. He says if he's wearing black kilt hose, he'll often wear a pair of black dress socks underneath, so he doesn't have that effect.
Right.
But obviously with other colors, that's not easy to do. So he's hoping there are suggestions on kilt hose that will fit his big old legs better.
Sure.
Big old long legs.
So yeah, he's only 6'1", but he may have like longer legs. That's kind of where I'm going with my brain. A couple things. One, I would look at Piper hose or our cotton. I'm again talking about our products because or you can look for them same thing somewhere else. Piper hose, because generally you fold them down twice, so it's a little bit more flexibility in how much you're folding them down. So if you have if your legs are longer, you can fold it down a little bit less on the first fold and more on the second fold to get it to the right spot. Also, our cotton kilt hose, you fold down twice. So those you may fold down, a little lip on the top and then fold it down a full cuff. So you still get that look of, finished on the bottom and top, but it's, you don't have to fold them down as far. Any comments on that? The fold down
No,
part?
I will say, I think that makes sense. I don't think it's going to solve the other problem they talked
Correct.
about. But yeah, that helps. The Lewis hose can be better for that again because it's also a thicker cuff. It's not just that it's longer, but it's got a nice weave to it. It's got a 3-dimensionality to it. It's just thicker, bulkier, so you can get a nice effect of it, even if you can't have it really super far down. I've definitely used popcorn top hose, and for me, actually, I have the opposite problem. I actually have more material than I need, so I wind up doing like a triple fold on a couple of mine. No, seriously.
No,
or hand knits. My hand knit, sometimes I'm doing an extra fold. So yeah, that's kind of my best guess.
If it's part,
what I would do.
Did he say he had wide calves?
No.
No. Okay. If it was wide calves, I would forego the Lewis and go with the wide calf Harris hose we have, or that are out there as well, from House Cheviot. They're stretchier at the top. Now what I would do is, kind of like what he alluded to in the question was, for black hose, he would put on a pair of thin black dress socks underneath, so when you stretch the fabric out, you don't see through it as much.
Right.
To some degree, it has to do with the tight. I won't say quality because it's not necessarily a quality thing, but the tightness of the weave of the pair of hose that you have purchased or you're wearing. So the Piper hose are a little bit better than that. Like the cotton hose, I know, are a little bit thinner when you stretch them out.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can wear something underneath it. Now, here's my question to you: would it look weird if he's wearing like bottle green? Let's say, and he's wearing black dress socks underneath to kind of mask the leg, the bright white of the leg. Let's say he's a pasty white dude, and he's just
he says he is. But.
Yeah, so it's going to shine through. If there's any kind of light coming at it, you're going to see the bright white skin underneath the green. Would black look weird against the green? Would it just kind of look marled?
We're thinking the same thing. I was actually thinking that the black might be more usable than he thinks. I don't think it would be that bad with a lot of other kilt hose colors. Not cream, obviously, but
not lighter colors.
Yeah, and you can get dress socks in some browns. Now you want the really tall dress socks, and usually I think those are limited to black. They don't make the tall dress socks in too many other colors.
Someone has to, but
I'm sure somebody does. But I wouldn't rule it out. I think the black would kind of disappear for most observers. It would disappear, and you don't need much. Remember, other people are not like looking at down there inspecting your legs the way you are when you get dressed. When you get dressed in the morning, you're looking at up close, and you're gonna be like, oh man. But your casual observer, it's a 10-foot rule, like they say in reenacting. So you're going to be, I think you're gonna be more okay than you think. Your mileage may vary, but I think you get away with black for a number of colors. The darker the color, the better. Like if it's a claret, it'll work better than if it's like a ancient blue. But I think it would still work. I think it's still a good tactic.
Did you ever see this is a tangent, but I promise it's going to come back. Did you ever see the meme? It's a marketing meme where it's literally a black, it's like black squares kind of thing, and it says, you will look here first, then look here, then here, then here.
Yep.
I'm thinking the same thing for him.
Yes, absolutely.
It's people, when you're approaching somebody, they're going to look at your kilt, and you're like, oh my God, that dude has a kilt on.
It's going to sporran.
Then maybe they'll look at the sporran, then they'll probably look at your top, then they'll probably look at you in the face. They're probably not going to look down at your legs or your shoes because they're going to go from here to here.
Right.
So I wouldn't put too much freak out emphasis on it. If you can fix a minor problem and it makes you feel more comfortable, great. Have at it, tweak it, make it your own, hack it, DIY, whatever you got. But if you can't, or you can't find a darker brown pair of kilt hose to match with it, don't worry about it. Don't fuss about it too much. It's fine.
Yeah. I say that the thicker the hose, the better. I will disagree with you. I don't think the cotton hose are a great option for the second problem. For the first problem with having good length to work with, they're an answer for that.
No,
but
second problem, that's the opposite.
The second problem is the opposite. They're really thin. They're meant for summertime heat, so they're going to be very breathable and very see-through. So yeah, I think the black or brown dress socks would probably work okay. You could also take a pair of dress socks or athletic socks that are the same height as the hose and freaking spray paint them. We once did that for a cosplay that my wife did. She went as this character called Ruby Gloom, who wears these striped tights. And so we had to make these tights that had these really wide orange stripes on them. So she actually put them on, and we taped around the parts we didn't want to paint, and I literally spray painted her legs in our garage. It worked. It worked.
Can I suggest maybe dyeing instead of spray painting? Mm-mm. If you just get
wasn't
white
gonna
ones,
work.
Okay,
wasn't gonna work.
Then,
we had to get the exact right color, and the only way to do it was with paint.
Understood. If they're underneath a pair of socks,
yeah,
then potentially, if it's really, really bothers you, then get a pair of white and then dye them.
You're ruining my fun. I just want this guy to try and spray paint some socks so I can get the video.
No. He should spray paint his legs.
Yeah.
Spray paint the legs themselves.
Yeah, you get the spray on tan, spray tan.
I was gonna go even more, like, don't even wear socks. Just spray paint and then spray paint flashes on the side.
Oh my God! I'm imagining this like Irish, Hebridean ginger guy with tan with bronze Brazilian legs. Freckles, tan.
No, spray painting on the flashes would be too difficult, and they're three-dimensional. You want them to flap a little bit. So I would say cut a pair of flashes, staple gun to the side of the leg. Suffer for your art, my friend.
Just tattoo the whole thing. just tattoo on.
Yeah, but it's still not three-dimensional. But I like the idea of tattooing. That's what you do with the skin do. You tattoo the skin do on there.
I've seen that. That's kind of funky when they do that, but.
Sure, I think Piper Alley has it.
Does she have a skin do tattoo?
Yep, a skin do.
We'll find out. We'll find out in a couple of weeks.
I'm relatively positive, indeed. Okay.
So, yeah, we got silly. Yeah, got silly, but hopefully that helped. I mean, you're on the right track. Keep going with the tactics you have.
Absolutely. That was yours?
That was mine.
I have so many comments on that.
Oh yeah.
One, Ruby Gloom's an amazing show. Loved watching that with my daughter when she was little. The idea of dress socks underneath the hose, that sounds like such a nightmare to me. I don't know about you guys. My feet sweat more than anything else sometimes. I'm just adding more. I'm just
I'm
like,
not
get out of
saying
here.
it's good.
It's not good.
I'm
But
saying it solves problem X. It
Fair.
creates problem Y.
yeah.
Fair.
And it's about context too. Like if it's a really important formal event, you're going to be more willing to suffer for your art than if this is like casual day wear.
Yeah.
I
Fair
think.
enough.
So
Or just buy a better hose. Or different hose.
There's that.
Not necessarily better, but
that.
different. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Ian.
All right, if we're ready to get into the next question here, I've got one from Adam Marnock, good friend of ours. This one might get me a little bit of trouble because I know it's something I've suggested before.
oh no.
But this is in the vein of
Pewter
pushing
figurines in
for
the store. No.
Celtic Nations Muted. He wants to know, when are you starting the Kilt of the Month Club?
Kilt
we
of
used
the
to
Month
joke
Club.
about that
I know.
all the time.
Yes. The I think we'd have all 3 members. And 2 of them would work here.
Yeah, the other would be Sean Smith.
Yeah. Thank you, Sean. The Kilt of the Month Club. Now, define Kilt of the Month Club. Would it be they get a new kilt every month? Which type of kilt would they get?
Or-
Would it have to be original and different?
I think it has to be like a one of those mystery box things, a box subscription where you don't know what you're going to get.
See, I'm calling BS on mystery boxes because
don't like those? Okay.
no, because here's my theory. What do we have left over that's not selling? Mystery box. Like I'm always
Sometimes
afraid
it's
that
that.
like I know it is that it has to be that.
It's not always that.
It would drive me nuts. I know there's sometimes they're going to come out with something special and cool and different just to keep you suckers out there.
It depends on the company doing it. There are individual crafters out there who will do a subscription box, and they are actually making each item in it.
No, agreed. Subscription box, yes.
Okay.
Mystery box is what I'm talking about. There's like, you get the mystery T-shirt of the month. I'm too picky with the designs that I would want to portray or put on my body, so I wouldn't do it for that kind of reason.
So what if we had? It might be a kilt some months, or it might be some other accessory some months. It's not always a kilt.
I'm taking this way too seriously. I'm going into like the dollar figures. Okay, how much is this thing going to cost?
You're like,
Yeah, I know. My brain is in
quarterly, kilt of the quarter.
We could do kilt in a month. It would just get expensive real fast for people. And I don't know how many people would want. Well, see, people would buy like
12 kilts.
12 kilts a year. Now we do have customers who would buy or who have bought or who are buying 12 kilts a year. But generally, they're like, here's an order for like 3 or 4 because they're all excited. And then they wait till they get them and then they order 3 or 4 more.
Yep.
So it's like quarterly, but it's a mass.
And their marriages don't usually last.
Or they're single.
Yeah.
The disposable income customers.
No, it's a funny idea. We used to joke about it all the time, especially when we have some of our best customers ordering something, and we're just like, oh boy, just sign them up for the Kilt of the Month Club. Wow, just cut to the chase.
Or us. Like we get excited about this stuff too. So people internally are like, yeah, I'll take that one. Hey guys, we have this, this customer canceled an order. We have this cloth. Oh, I'll take it. We got a deal on that. I'll buy that one.
Yep. We got that stack of tartan over in production, waiting for
the Isle of
kilts
Misfit Tartans.
Yeah, the Isle of Misfit Tartans. Yeah.
Yep. Indeed. So, rambling answer, but
You can be the
there you
president of the club.
Yes.
Just sign up now.
go. Not only the
be-
Kilt Club president, I'm also a member. Indeed, Mr. Ian.
Do you have him do another one? Okay.
Only people. It was an off tangent one.
Right.
Only people from the '80s will get the Kilt Club president member reference. Okay. Old people like us. Ian's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
He's
I know
like,
what you're talking about. That's a very
wait.
You do?
current people
Okay, the
people
Hair Club
reference that all the
president?
time now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
My bad.
I think people know that one even if they haven't seen the original source, kind of things.
Yeah.
I think
It's like say hello to my little friend. Everybody knows the phrase, even if they couldn't tell you what movie it came from.
Kilt on directly to the forehead. Kilt on.
or my favorite, we don't need no stinking badges, and everybody thinks it's from Blazing Saddles, but it's actually from Treasure of the Sierra Madre with Humphrey Bogart.
My brother once got in an argument with me about whether Wax On, Wax Off came from Ninja Turtles 2 or Karate Kid. He was wrong.
He was wrong.
Oh,
Clearly, he was wrong.
You're Daisy if you do, Ian. You're Daisy if you do. Please.
Oh,
Next question.
go ahead. No, I just thought.
Okay, I'm definitely ready for another question. Let's do this.
I'm completely ready. Why wouldn't I be ready?
So here's one it's gotten a lot of comments in the chat here. Reiko had asked, if you join a clan society, does that make you a part of the clan proper?
The clan proper.
Yes, are you now a member of the clan if you joined a clan society?
Ish, kinda, no, sort of, not really.
Yeah.
Next question. No, the clan is the Scots Gaelic for family. So it's your family in the same, your family even without joining the clan. Like if my wife's name is Stewart, she is a Stewart. She's from a line of Stewarts. So if she's a Stewart, whether she's part of Clan Stewart or not. Now, if she joins and I as her husband join and say, hey, I'm a Stewart too through marriage, then I'm accepted into the family. Think of it kind of like an adoption. You're not a blood relative, but you're in there, with the rest of them.
Yeah.
So, and you're supporting the culture, you're supporting the thing, you're doing a good thing. Ultimately, the answer is yes, join a clan society. Support them with money because they go out to different events and help people get into the heritage and, find, connections and give history and that kind of thing. But it's also just, it's good juju to a degree, as well as it's doing the events is fun, and it's good interaction. It's supporting the community, building the community.
Right. I think it's an interesting question. I think it comes down to what are your motivations. Is it like you're concerned that you are not Scottish enough to do this stuff, so you want to attach yourself to a clan society and get adopted in, so you feel like you have some kind of internal legitimacy to
wear it,
or celebrating the culture? Yeah. But you don't really have to go that far necessarily. I would say if you want to join a clan society that is active in your area, then if they're chill people and they like you and you like them and you're all trying to study this stuff together and express it together, then it's going to be fine. It's not, there's not a formal thing like you're going to be taken before the clan chief and he's going to dub you with like the ancient clan sword that's been handed down for 300 years and say, thou art now a member of Clan Gonal. There's not...
Rise, my son.
Yeah, they're not going to draw blood with a cap badge and a skin dew and brand you on the channel. It's like a thing like Kwai Chan Kane from Kung Fu. You're not going to have brands from of the clan badge. It's like, I am now a member. It's not how it works. If you're not genealogically related to the clan, then you're not a member of the clan. But that doesn't have to mean anything. I mean, it's kind of like my wife. She had to get out of it because her ankles went bad. But she used to do Bharatanatyam, which is a Southern Indian temple dance style, and she was, she's basically a German chick, right? So, and some people were like, "Oh, are they okay with you doing it?" I was like, "Yes, they're okay with you doing that because you're being a sincere student." And she had a lot of friends in it as a result.
Passion for it, yeah.
Because she had a visible passion for it. It's like we always say, if you are a sincere student of the culture, you will find acceptance and you will enjoy the ride, and your friends will enjoy having you around. If you're doing it because you feel like you have to have a card, like you have to have a membership card, see, I'm allowed to wear this. I'm not assuming that's your motivation, but if that were someone's motivation, I think that'd be the wrong way of thinking about it.
Yeah.
If you know people who are in a clan society and you love what they do, or they do an awesome thing at festivals, or
you're friends with a bunch of them,
yeah, then just go for it.
Yeah.
And that's the point is to preserve and carry forward the culture.
Yeah. The here's my example of it. The Clan Buchanan. Kenneth Buchanan is a friend of ours, customer, and he's something in Clan Buchanan. He's at least a representative. He goes to all the games, and I think he was afforded some office within it because he does a lot. He's very, very active. And when I bought the Buchanan weathered and I wore it to a festival and he was there and we were talking and he was over the moon that I chose to wear the Clan Buchanan weathered tartan. And he's like, that is so awesome. Thank you. Blah, blah, blah. Hugged and all of it.
Yeah.
Here's a beer. Boo.
Right.
But generally it's as long as you're not wearing it disrespectfully or being a drunken idiot, they're going to love the fact that you find something cool that they find cool. That's the whole point of this.
I think there's this is also why pan-Celtic societies exist. Like we had a post about similar to this a week or two ago, and one of the points that somebody left, which I also knew about, was they mentioned there was a Celtic society, I think in Wisconsin, that was really active and really cool, and anybody was welcome to join. It was remember, should I join a Celtic society? So it's talking about fraternal organizations. That was the question. And one of the points that Rocky made at the time was that there are, non-clan affiliated, often regional Celtic societies, which bring all those people who are cool on this and interested in together to do something. And so that's a great way to do it also.
We had an ambassador of the month from Oklahoma, and his name is escaping me. But it was like an Oklahoma regional.
Yep. I can tell you that the segment we did on him is online as how do you support your clan or something like that. It's on YouTube.
Yeah, but there are regional, Scottish, Irish, Pan-Celtic, whatever it is, organizations that you have a common love of the culture and all that kind of stuff, so you just gather together, and it's just a whole new friend group. Just, bam, we're sitting there waiting for you.
Yeah, so I don't know what the details are of the situation, but if you could ask if you want to join, Clan MacDougall or something, and you just want to say, hey, I'm not technically a member of the clan, but I love your history and all that kind of stuff, and could I join the society? And they're probably going to be like, oh, you're going to pay dues? And that's as far as it'll go. It's like, okay, it's $20 a year.
And then they'll ask you to volunteer at tents and share that with other people. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's fine. It's the sharing, it's the community building. That's actually what matters here.
Exactly.
Yes, indeed.
Yep.
All right. Eric.
Passion is thicker than blood, or something. Yeah.
Sure.
As opposed to blood is thicker than water.
Passion's thicker than water. Blood may be thicker than passion. If somebody attacked my... I don't know.
Whatever. I don't know.
I lost it.
Yeah. This has, just for those keeping track, this has definitely gotten a lot sweeter, and some of the flavor notes are coming out now. So
Mine tastes a lot like fruit punch.
Well, that's your own damn fault. Just have to be more patient with our whiskey, I think, is all it comes down to. All right. Peter J. Hutchinson asked us, this is a fashion question and also a weaponry question. How is the kilt belt and dirk worn with a jacket and waistcoat? I have seen many examples of the buckle peeking out from underneath the waistcoat, but also older images with the belt over the waistcoat. Is one more formal or more practical or more proper than the other? So, and to be clear, we're talking about dirk, which is the Scottish dagger evolved out of the Bollock dagger, not a skindu.
Yeah.
Dirk, skindu. Dirk, skindu.
That's what she said. I had to. So
sorry, Ian.
We're breaking you in.
He's my biggest fan, apparently.
It depends on the jacket itself. If you're wearing a jacket that's typically open, i.e. a Prince Charlie or an Argyle jacket or something, or a Crail, something like that, then I wouldn't wear a dirk with it because you generally don't wear a belt with a vest. And if you do, it's, you wear the dirk on a, what's a dirk frog, or what's the little loop thing that goes over
There's usually just a loop on the scabbard of a dirk. I mean, frogs are usually more for swords. But,
Okay. Well, the little loop thing goes over the belt.
Yeah.
And then it's going to get in the way of the jacket, and it doesn't look. It's difficult to make it look good because it's always going to be a lump on your side. Either what are you going to do? Wear the jacket around it and have it stick out.
Right.
Looks weird. Or you're going to tuck the jacket behind it, and the jacket looks all weird and frumpy. Neither way looks good. Now, if you have a Montrose or a Kenmore doublet, both of those are jacket styles that are designed to be closed. So with those, you actually can wear a belt over the jacket.
You're expected to.
Yes.
Especially with a Kenmore doublet, which is basically a kind of a civilianized version of a military doublet, like you'd see a bagpiper wear, or some Victorian gents, or military doublet. And it's kind of like, hey, let's make that a little more streamlined so anybody could wear it when they're going out to the St. Andrews dinner. And you're meant to wear a belt over that. So
including Kermit the Frog. His date, Miss Piggy, had on a full ball gown, but Kermit looked to the nines.
Kermit the Highlander here. Sound more like Ernie that time, but yeah. So basically, that's exactly it. I know the images you're referring to because the Victorians surprise, surprise, did a lot of funky things, and they would, especially for a photo op in a photo studio where I want to look as Scottish as possible, they would put on a kilt belt over a waistcoat and then a doublet worn open, basically the precursor of what we call an Argyle jacket or an Argyle doublet. You can find images of this, and I'll probably put one up later. And they made that a thing for a while. That was a style. It doesn't work that well in a modern context, and the way modern waistcoats and suit jackets are cut, like you were saying, it's just going to look odd. You're going to have lumps, and the weight of the dirk on the belt is going to tend to pull it down, which means you're going to be pulled off center, and it's going to cause your shirt from under the waistcoat to puff out more. You're going to have more likelihood of like the blobs of white from your dress shirt poking out from around your waistcoat, and it's going to look sloppy over time. I get the motivation because a lot of guys want to have a dirk for a special occasion. We see a lot of guys wearing them for weddings. If you got to do it, it'd be easier with a Prince Charlie than with an Argyle for sure. But I wouldn't really recommend it.
I wouldn't do either.
Without the proper jacket. Montrose is kind of like it's like a double-breasted shell coat. And it basically goes back to, like, if you ever watch Sharp's Rifles, it's basically a throwback to Napoleonic uniforms. You have button, 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 button. It's closed, very military-looking, very sharp. That, if the belt is meant to go on the outside of the jacket, you can do it. Otherwise, it's going to be awkward at best.
And it's pretty what we're talking about are generally form-fitting type jackets. Yeah. So if you're a skinny guy, it'll look the bee's knees.
Right.
If you're a real big dude, I don't think it would look as good.
Correct.
Personally,
it's a flaw of the design. I would.
Yeah.
If I had
kind of like Trues.
Yeah, I mean, the more belly I had, the more I would go for the Montrose over the Kenmore. Personally, just wearing them, not talking about the weapons. But yeah, they're a little harder to come by. So if you really want to dive into that fashion, you're gonna have to pay for it. I would say that this advice applies to swords also. Having a baldric for a broadsword or something like that. As much as you might want to do it for your wedding ceremony, I wouldn't. I wouldn't really recommend it, personally.
Now, agreed. And you can incorporate, if it's for a wedding or something like that, you can incorporate it in different ways. You don't, if you want to lead the Highland charge out at a church with your wife, for some reason.
Well, you got to get away from the guests somehow.
Exactly. Photographer, fight him off. You can have it towards the back of the church and hold it up or something. For my wedding, we had a dirk as part of the ceremony for the reception. That's what we used to cut the cake. So you can incorporate the symbolism, if it's for a wedding, in different ways, but wearing it can get a little bit tricky. Actually,
I was going to say, it's that dirk right over there.
Yep.
I'll take it back a little bit. I'll say that a baldric with a broadsword over an Argyle jacket or PC temporarily, like for just walking down the aisle for the ceremony, you might be able to get away with it because, it's going to go outside all the jacket. But I would only wear it for the actual moment and then get rid of the sucker. You know what I mean?
Maybe have your groomsman or your best man take it off and put it off to the side.
Or even better, you have a
or
groomsman
put it on at the end.
Not even put it on, just present the sword to you. I mean, that's the freaking medieval thing. It was like they hold the sword up and you draw the sword and then cut open the best man. No, cut open the cake. That's, do that, like...
A lot of sound effects.
Have a sword bearer. That'd be freaking cool. That'd be awesome.
A sword bearer, like a ring bearer.
Exactly.
Just give it to a small child and let it go.
I've definitely been at weddings where there has been an honor guard who were armed, and all kinds of different variations of that.
Yeah, so. Especially like Marine Corps weddings with the they all put the swords up coming out the church.
Or just medievalists, like my friends.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So
indeed.
Shaggy dogging like crazy. But.
Yep. So, that's our thoughts on it for you. Yep. Mr. Ian, what do we got going on the interwebs?
Boy, we shaggy dogged that.
So let's go with Brett Johnson's question here. He wants to know, is a great kilt a good option for somebody that's losing weight?
Sure.
Yeah.
Intriguing idea.
Interesting question.
Or gaining weight, perhaps.
Yeah. If you have any kind of weight fluctuation.
I plan to gain at least 40 pounds this year.
It's just... it's sized to whatever you lay it out to. Great kilt is simply a blanket you lay on the floor. Whether it's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 yards of cloth, whatever, depending on how big you are. And you put a belt underneath it, and then you sit there on the floor and you hand pleat it. You lay down in it, bring the under apron, bring the over apron, wrap the belt around you, stand up, whippity-doo-dah. You connect the thing over your shoulder, done. Yeah. So it's a kind of a, I'll say one-size-fits-all type garment.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a good option. Now, it is a look, meaning it is a historical-looking thing. It is not a proper tailored kilt, contemporary kilt that you would see today. But it is, sure, it's got a ton of flexibility.
It's it's either historical or it's modern rock and roll, ultra casual. And I know these questions are coming up more often because we have people who are it's caught on as a trend because it does look pretty badass. So yeah, I'd say it's a good option. If you lose a lot of weight, you may get to a point where you're like, wow, I got more fabric than I know what to do with it. You may want to trim off half a yard or a yard, perhaps. But I think it makes sense to just be prepared that it's going to take you longer to get dressed, unless you subscribe to the drawstring theory. But other than that, yeah, you got to realize you'll get practice in it, but it's still going to take a little longer to get dressed in the morning. But yeah, I think makes sense to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure. Yeah.
Indeed. Mr. Eric.
Okay. Don Guyton has a tartan question. This is he says, are all the Buchanan tartans you sell double width? I thought I had heard non-symmetrical tartans were usually single width because when you cut the tartan and sew the pieces together, they won't match. So they have to be single. So
correct.
What's the answer? How do you deal with that? And why does it matter?
Why does it matter?
Yeah.
Good question. When you have an asymmetrical tartan, meaning the pattern, if we look at, the kilt I have on here, the white stripe and the blue stripe in the red here, these are both pivot points, meaning if you put a mirror here, this side is the exact same as that side. If you have an asymmetrical tartan, it's going to repeat by starting over. It's going to go A, B, C, A, B, C, A, B, C, not A, B, C, B, A. So, what does that mean in practicality? Most people, when they're buying a kilt, just need 8 yards of cloth, single width. If I'm a kilt maker, I order 4 yards double width. I take the fabric, cut it down the center, and do that, and splice it. So the good edge and the good edge up here are both on the bottom, and then I hide the splice in the center back plate. If you have an asymmetrical tartan, this edge up here and this edge down here don't match. So when you do this and this won't align anymore. So what you have to actually do is cut it here and then bring it down. Now this is a cut edge. So the problem is you have to hem the bottom of the kilt. That is never ideal. So what most mills do when they weave an asymmetrical tartan, they know this. So they generally sell the cloth single width. But they weave it, half of them weave it double width, and then they just cut it down the middle and sell it to the kilt maker single width. Some of them actually weave it 32 inches wide single width. So we had this issue actually kind of recently where somebody ordered a great kilt in Buchanan Ancient from Loch Carron, and they weave it single width. So I went to order the cloth, and I was like, okay, I need 4 yards, must be double width. And they said, nope, it's only single width. So I had to go back to the customer, and they changed it to a different mill. I think they changed it to Martin Mills, who weaves it double width and can sell it as they'll just chop it down the center and sell you single width cloth. So when it comes to asymmetrical tartans, it's up to the mill what they do, how they do it. And you just have to rely on your kilt company of choice to navigate those waters for you. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Okay. Did that answer the question? I was rambling,
Sure.
so I forget whether I answered it or not.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. That's basically it.
Cool. Hope that helped.
I wonder if they're wondering if it affects the cost of the product for them.
No,
it's not going to.
It won't, because if I'm buying material from, let's say, Martin Mills, and I'm ordering Buchanan, and it's an 8-yard single width piece versus a 4-yard double width piece, they're going to charge me half the amount for twice the amount of yardage. So it won't really affect the price, as it shouldn't affect the price from a reputable maker for the end consumer to do that. In a great kilt is the only time that it matters, because you can make a great kilt from double or from single width cloth by splicing it together. Frankly, it's how they did it way back when. But you're ending up with a seam right in the middle of the kilt that's going to essentially go around the middle of your body and be like a weird thickness right there. So
Yeah, that would be weird.
yeah, it's not ideal. If it's not an issue, just get it double width from a different mill.
Cool.
Yes. Mr. Ian.
Okay, let's go with Jonathan King's question. Jonathan King recently, earlier this year, drove out from Michigan to visit our shop, do one other tourist attraction, and then drive back. And I think
Nice. We drank scotch. He gave us scotch at some
he
point.
dropped
too.
off
Yeah.
scotch, and I think we tried one of them on the show from that trip. But he says he's at a Central Michigan Highland Festival, and he saw a family proudly wearing their Loud McLeod tartan. The father had the pleats hiding the vertical lines, resulting in only horizontal lines. Your thoughts on this type of pleating?
The lawn chair effect.
Yes.
Dun dun dun.
Way back when.
This is a classic.
Go in the Wayback Machine with us. Way back in, I guess, mid-2000s, I'll say. There was there still is, a kilt forum called X Marks the Scot, and people started doing that once in a while, just playing around with it, and I have never, here's my opinion, shocker. I've never liked it, and the first time I saw it, I said, oh, it looks like the straps from a 70s lawn chair, like those just horizontal stripes, because if you take the most dominant, high contrast vertical stripe and you eliminate it, so you're only left with a solid section, like on the kilt I am wearing. If I pleated this to this red section right here, all you would have are horizontal stripes of the green and white stripe and that kind of thing. And the vertical would all be the red. So what would stand out are the horizontal stripes. I am not a fan of it. I coined the term the lawn chair effect way back then. It can be done. I've seen the kilt makers that do it tend to do it this way. They will pleat it to the nothing, or to a horizontal, to a vertical band, or a wide section, and then just on the tail edge of the pleat, which is actually covered up by the next pleat, they will have like a color, where it changes over to something that stands out. So that way, when you're walking, you get a little bit of flash of color.
Pop.
Yep,
Yeah,
a little pop of color as you walk. But if you're standing still, and in the upper portion and the fell, the upper 8 inches or so at the top of the back of the kilt, it just looks like horizontal bands. I am not a fan. Never have been. That is a hill I will die on.
I completely agree. Yeah, I mean, it's your choice.
Yeah, some people like it.
Ian also is like, yeah, no. So.
Yeah, some people like it. Luckily, they're in the minority. No, it's some people like it, and it's, if you want to do it, fine. If that's the way you want your kilt pleated, fine. It's not the end of the world. I will not come after you with a skin do.
So here's the question: is it a pipe band thing potentially, because it would give you more flexibility? Because if you're just pleating to the open field instead of a solid stripe, and you have more variability of how much, where you cut the fabric and stuff, wouldn't you?
I've seen no pipe bands do it.
Okay.
To my knowledge, there may be, but none of the pipe bands I've seen have done it. If they're pleating it to the stripe for adjustability of the kilt, like military kilts.
Yeah.
Where the reason you pleat a kilt to the stripe is that the center back, if you're pleating to the set, there's one stripe. Either one of the pivots is right centered on your spine, right in the middle of the back. If you pleat your kilt to the stripe, where there's a dominant stripe going down every single pleat, you can adjust the buckles a little bit, and then that center back stripe, is always going to be a center back stripe versus an element that gets moved if you gain or lose weight. That's kind of, I'm assuming, what you're referring to.
Yeah, exactly what I'm trying to say.
But for pipe bands, I've not seen any pipe bands do a no stripe thing on the back.
Okay.
It may exist. I'm not saying it doesn't. I have not seen it.
Okay. is this the kind of thing that you run into more with mass-produced kilt as opposed to custom-made kilts?
No, mass-produced kilts. If we're talking like cheap import, mass-produced kind of kilts, generally they're pleated to kind of
Nothing?
whatever, or a sort of a pattern. There's some of them are better than others, but they can just kind of be pleated a little hodgepodge across the back. I don't see many of them pleated to the no stripe because even they would probably recognize it doesn't look good.
Wow.
I'm sorry for those of you who like it.
Okay. All right.
Again, hill I will die on.
Not a problem.
Indeed. All right.
Okay. Do you want me to do one, or you want Ian to do another one?
Whoever did last one, the other one.
Okay. So, Joshua, I don't know my Hebrew. McAllister was asking, I'm not sure how to word this, but has there been anything in Highland dress that has been retroactively changed because of historical finds? So it's like, we're going along, and all of a sudden somebody digs something out of a hole, and it's like, oh, nope. Can't wear kilts anymore like that. That's right out.
I thought he was going to do the thing that I do. Like, I know I'm going to sound like a jerk saying this, but it's going to come out of my mouth anyway. No, he didn't do that. Has there anything that's been changed retroactively?
Based on new knowledge.
Based on new knowledge. Not to my knowledge. There's been things that have been added in that weren't there originally.
Oh yeah.
Or that have kind of been adopted. I'm thinking like Highland shirt, with the ghillie shirt, with the laces up the front kind of thing. Stuff like that, or ghillie brogues, weren't, they're inspired by historical, but not really.
I think inspired by the past.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, let's put a twist on this. Or if you're talking about the Victorians, like, oh, well, yes, I can tell from this painting, this is obviously how this is supposed to be worn and how this works. So you're just like, that becomes standard. It's like you're inventing it. Or squeezing it into your whatever is your modern context. So again, Highland shirts are loosely based on work shirts of the 18th century, and ghillie brogues are supposed to be reminiscent of bog shoe kind of things, ghillies that would have holes in them and straps. So if you get them stuck in the mud, you can pull your shoe out, all that kind of stuff. But the opposite of saying, oh, it turns out they actually wore flippers, so we got to stop wearing ghillie brogues, and now we're all going to wear flippers instead. That doesn't really happen. I think there's definitely more examples of the opposite. Like there's another one you mentioned yesterday.
Yeah, the reproduction tartans.
Right.
There are things that have kilts have a murky origin. So, and it's not like, and Moses came down and said, here are the 10 commandments of kilts. Like, it didn't happen like that. It wasn't, here's the moment in time where they started, and this is now canon, period. It evolved slowly over time. It is a much slower evolving fashion, if I'm using the term loosely, than like regular fashion is, but it still evolved over time. Like Prince Charlie's didn't always exist.
Right.
They were a tweak, a fashion tweak on a regimental doublet, which was a little bit pre-Prince Charlie, 1920s-ish. So things have evolved. Now, looking back at it, you could say like, well, the Prince Charlie wasn't the right formal dress jacket. So let's not wear that. Let's wear a Kenmore, or let's wear a Montrose, or let's wear the regimental doublet. That's not really throwing something off because it wasn't accurate. That's just being cyclical in fashion. It's not like a 20-year burn it fast fashion kind of cycle, but it's a 100-year type cycle.
Yeah, it's more taste. It's really just how tastes change.
Correct. Or evolve, or what becomes in fashion. Now, that being said, talking about the reproduction tartans, the one that was kind of closest to the gent's question was something that they discovered it and now it's a thing, or they changed the way they're doing things. The closest to that is in the 1950s, the mill DC Dalgleish discovered and were given this swatch of tartan that was found in a peat bog, and the original colors they're trying to reproduce as authentically as possible, and they had this marketing shtick behind it, where they said, look, here, we're calling it the reproduction colors. And we kept this little scrap of fabric in a safe, and no one can see it. But it exists, we swear. Here's the colors that it was. And then they came out with a line of tartans where the blue changed to gray, the green turned to brown, the red turned to like a salmony, pinkish kind of red. And they just said, yep, this is the thing. It was marketing. No one has ever seen the swatch of cloth. It has never been produced. It is one of those things where they put it forward. It kind of caught on, especially in the 90s and 2000s. Reproduction or
now called weathered, right?
Well, not now called weathered. Dalgleish owned the copyright on the phrase reproduction colors as it applied to tartans.
Okay.
So other mills were like, hey, we can just change the colors too. You can't call it reproduction. Okay, we'll call it weathered. And then they just started doing weathered colors. So Loch Heron has a big collection of weathered colors on on a lot of different tartans. So that one is something that it wasn't really discovered, but it was claimed to be discovered, but it just looked good, so it caught on. So it really boils down to if it looks good and gets accepted widely enough over a certain amount of time, then it will kind of become part of the story that is tartan.
Yeah, I think with all this stuff, it's a matter of how tastes change over time, but usually with any single element of what we're talking about, once the genie's out of the bottle, it's not going back in again. Another example I've heard you use is the Sobisky Stewart tartans. Some people knew or felt that they were probably a con job from the very beginning. Other people weren't sure, but they wanted to believe they were legit. And you had lots of clans who adopted these tartans and said, these are now our official tartans. This is us. Great. And basically, a few years later, 20, 30, 100 years later, the research is confirmed. Yeah, no, they made them all up. So have people gone to not
At
wearing...
least a good amount.
Right, a lot. Yeah, so have they said, nope, we're never wearing this again. This was a fake. It was a fraud. We're never wearing this tartan again. Blah, gone. Strike from the record. That doesn't happen. Because it still looks good, and we've been wearing it for so long now, we're going to keep it.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's it. Just, once it's out of the bottle, it's out of the bottle.
They pulled the wool over their eyes. I'm sorry. Shouldn't have done that.
Right.
We just lost half our audience.
I say the only things that would get dropped would be if something was considered to be in very, very poor taste.
Yeah.
And this is such a traditional, slow-moving thing that very rarely happens. Like, I suppose some people would choose not to use a cap badge that has a savage as the heraldic charge, because now some people would consider that derogatory. So but even then, the clans still have it on the books. It's still there. It's still a thing.
The tartans that Hitler designed. Less fashionable nowadays.
They've definitely gone out of taste. So,
indeed. All right.
Now you're gonna have people believing that Hitler designed tartans.
Hitler didn't design tartans.
God.
Oh, I hope he didn't.
You know not what you do.
Exactly. All right. Was that you or is that Ian? That was you.
That was mine.
Mr. Ian.
I was just being ready for next time.
Oh boy.
It's like, great. Now I got to field comments about Hitler designing tartans.
Thanks,
Rocky.
I gotta follow that now.
No, Hitler would only allow one tartan.
No, I don't want to go anymore.
This is it, right, tartan? This is the only tartan? Yeah.
A lot of white in his
Not
tartan.
wrong. Oh, God.
We're going to hell.
Oh, God.
All right. Go ahead, Mr. Ian, please.
Okay. Yeah, let's get out of this hole here.
How to Destroy a Company in 2 minutes flat by Rocky Record.
So we have our Viking friend here. He wants to know, I've just had my tartan registered, and it took a while to get a final design nailed down. How would I go about getting it in stores and known?
So you actually registered it with the tartan registry.
I mean, I haven't checked the facts here. Maybe he hasn't.
Interesting.
Say it again. He designed a Viking tartan?
No, he's a Viking.
It's a Viking. Right.
But he designed a tartan. He hasn't indicated what the tartan is or what the but he wants to know. He got the final design nailed down. Took a while. How does he get it into stores and well known by the public?
Well, if you're a Viking, then basically every time you stop in a village, you go into the local tartan shop and say, "You're going to carry this now," and that's how the Danelaw developed. That's why
Exactly. Any tartan. It is. You have to have a ready, willing audience. You have to have a megaphone. You have to have a marketing effort behind it. You have to have stores who care that think it's a good idea. You have to have an attractive proposition
Right.
to a company that they're going to be able to make money off of the thing. You have to have mills, not necessarily mill support if you're just buying the cloth and doing it. Either you have to be independently wealthy or have a damn good idea that enough people want to do and they can make money off of and push forward and see that it would be broadly accepted.
Right. It's basically the way you're phrasing it. It's like any other product. So it's basically business 101. How do you get your product to be known? You're gonna have to decide what your advertising budget is. See if you can get some buzz going on it, get buy-in and stuff like that. If the tartan is not meant to be a moneymaker, if it's not meant to be a product, if you're trying to support a community or a group, like you do a custom weave tartan for your club or for your family, which is mostly what happens. Then what you do is you get the buzz going with people who are connected to that group. Like, okay, let's get all the Tullochs together. Let's get all the Tullochs together and fan out all the genealogical societies and say, okay, are you a Tulloch? We have a tartan for you now. Sign here to be part of the buy-in. Get notification on when we're doing this, and then send in your money, and that will be the pre-order, and then we'll get the cloth woven, and you can get your kilt in and stuff like that. So that's basically serving a more philanthropic effort. Let's all have a tartan to identify our group.
Yep.
If you're trying to do it as purely as a marketing thing, like you want to be the Grimfrost of the tartan world, then it's a product like any other, and you got to find a way to market it.
Yeah.
And you might maybe still be like pre-order. Is the way to go. I don't know how else you would do it unless you're going to just sink a lot of money into getting that woven.
Yeah,
and just have it sitting in your garage until you sell it.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm trying to think of the way to phrase it without sounding like a jerk. The ideas are cheap. It's the effort and everything else that goes into it that actually matters. Meaning after the idea, it's easy to say like, I want to develop a phone that can hold music. Nobody did it before Steve Jobs. So he had the marketing effort. He had the idea as well, but he had all the effort, the money, the marketing, and the machines. Yeah, he had the machine built to push it forward.
Yeah.
So without a machine, it is very much an uphill battle. Can be done, but it's an uphill battle.
Yeah, so it's entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yep.
But again, if you're doing it as an identifier for a group or something like that, then you got to talk to your peeps and say, hey guys, this would be awesome if we could make this real for us, as a esprit de corps, identification, something to brag about. Let's all get together and do it. And you're just spreading out the costs that way, and you're not trying to make money on it.
Yep.
Or if it's a charity, people will do things like this kind of for a charity sometimes. Like, okay, you're gonna help pre-order, you're gonna get your thing, but some of the money's gonna go to our cause.
Yep.
But that's basically it.
Indeed.
So whichever way you go, good luck.
Yep. Cheers.
More tartan is good.
Skull.
Always good. More tartan. Skull. Yeah. So now it's my turn.
Yes.
It is my turn. Okay. Dakota Long, who is from the UK. He didn't specify to me from where. He said, how do I persuade a lass to allow me to wear my casual Blackwatch kilt out of the house? She thinks kilts make me look like an idiot and are embarrassing. Now, when he says out of the house, implies to me maybe that they are cohabitating. Okay. As opposed to, don't meet me for this date. I can't see you in that kilt. Oh my God. They are
Valley Girl meets London. Yes, very nice.
Trying to channel my inner. What's her name from Harry Potter? Whatever. Anyway.
Yes. The young girl from Harry Potter. That one. Yeah.
God, I can't believe I can't remember it. Whatever.
Yeah.
It's Hermione.
Hermione. Thank you. Yes.
Indeed.
Right.
You look like Hermione.
Leviosa. Anyway, so I think they cohabitate.
Yeah.
By the way he phrased the question, but so you have an interested party, you have somebody you're dating or you're married to or whatever, and they don't like your kilt. What do you do? Let's set aside the whole joke about get a new girlfriend. Let's just take that joke as read. Okay.
You can still say it. It's okay.
You can still say it, but practical advice.
Yeah, it's the reason I think this question is interesting is because we get that question a lot from people in the U.S.
Yeah.
But he's in the U.K. Now, so where this gets my brain going is the reasons why a significant other doesn't want you in a kilt, with them. So if it's in the U.S., it's that my patent thought is, it's because they're afraid what people are going to think of them when you are in a kilt. They're concerned how it reflects on them, whether it's guy in a skirt, why is that a problem? And I always say, look, sit them down, explain why it means something to you, talk it through. Maybe you go out a bunch of times without them in it. Maybe you, have, period. I'll stop there. But for this one, I think there could be different reasons for her not wanting it. If they're in England, now he said UK, but if they're in England, not Scotland, maybe, and if he's not Scottish, maybe she's concerned like people are going to think he's like appropriating Scottish culture in England. Maybe, don't know. Maybe she's Scottish and he's not in England. And I'm supposing the whole thing is in England. Maybe she's English and just doesn't like kilts, and he's Scottish, or they're whatever. So there may be different dynamics there than would be here or Australia or Germany or somewhere else, that it wouldn't be at play as much as, close to the mothership, so to speak, to channel my inner George.
I'll at the risk of sounding like a jerk, to use your phrase, you just made me realize it's possible that there are some internal biases and prejudices at work here. Hopefully it's gotten better, but there is a history of English humorists picking on the Scottish. There's caricatures like the guy with the Jimmy hat that came from a comedian who was picking on Scottish people. Monty Python freaking did it, and all the cliches about Scotsmen being cheap or Scotsmen being somehow stupid or rustic or whatever. Some of that stuff is still there. So if she's worried, like, oh my God, my friends here in London or wherever are going to think that, he's weird because he's wearing a kilt. Why is he doing that? That could be a thing, and I really, really hope it's not. I think things have gotten better. Anybody over there, please tell me what you think. I'm assuming things have gotten better, but I know it still happens because a few years ago I went to do the Winter Lights show at Longwood Gardens with my family and friends, and I was wearing a kilt. It was like 20 degrees or something, so of course I wore a kilt and one of my military surplus woolly pulleys, and that was it. And there's some guy from England. He's like he kept following me around. He's like, he thinks he's Scottish. Oh, look at him, he thinks he's Scottish. And I was very polite. I did not respond. I did not give in to the temptation to go back at him or anything like that. But he was very, very amused. He was an older gentleman, and he was very amused that this American, this Yank, thought he was Scottish. I was just kind of like, so you could be running into some of that.
I would
really
say
hope
this.
not.
Monty Python insults
very
Scots,
dated.
and insults Scots, but they insulted a lot of people. They insulted Brits as well.
True.
B, the Scots are known, I will use that phrase, they are known for taking the piss, and they will beat each other up, and they joke, and they insult each other regularly, and in theory have a very thick skin about this kind of stuff. So, but it's kind of from what I've witnessed, it's almost diametrically opposed to the reality of, they're making fun of us again. Like, some of them get really butthurt about stuff, but they're supposed to be real thick-skinned.
If he's dealing with someone who was raised with the caricatures and is afraid of her boyfriend being associated with a caricature.
Fair. I'm going to our broader conversation.
Yeah, I'm saying it's in that sense. I think that's a different factor, possibly. I don't know. From the usual over here is like, men don't wear skirts. What will the people at church say? Which is more often, or what will my family say is more often the issue. You may still be dealing with that too. But all this highfalutin hypotheticals aside, what is the practical advice? How do you get past this with somebody?
It's the same. Ultimately, it's the same advice as I would give to somebody here or somebody in Australia. It's sit down and talk to them. Be like, all right, look, I want to have a discussion. What's your problem? Maybe not quite that confrontational, but
what's your problem?
What is up your? Never mind.
That's the American answer for sure.
That's the Philly.
That's a Philly answer. What's your John about this, John?
I'm wearing my kilt John today. Did the John tonight? No, but
Seriously.
it's sitting down and it's just kind of going directly at them, and it's okay. Look, why? I want to know what your concerns are. Period. And I want you to be honest with me. I want you to tell me the truth. Don't sugarcoat it. Let me know, why do you have a problem with it? And she'll probably, hem and haw and eventually come out with, it's weird or something. And okay, thank you for telling me that. I completely understand. Now can I give you, my reasons why I want to do it? Would you, offer me the same respect I gave you when listening to you? Would you listen to me now? And then kind of have some ideas what you want to say and kind of go through your checklist of why you want to wear it. Is it just a fashion thing? Is it because you like the attention? Is it because your father was into Black Watch and you really want to wear a Black Watch kilt to honor him? What are the reasons why you want to do it or start wearing it? But
Yeah,
I like the idea. It's something I've never articulated before. I like the idea of letting them go first and allotting them enough time to express their opinions. Here's another discussion/argument tip. When they explain something, explain it back to them. Say, interpret what you heard them say. So if she says, I'm afraid what people are going to say about me, and then they're going to think I'm weird because I'm with a guy who's wearing a kilt, then re-explain that to them so they know that you understand their concern. Then move to yours. But if they feel heard and they feel understood, and then you have another argument, not like angry, but argument like discussion about it, then they will start to hear yours more if they feel like they got their point out.
Well, sometimes having people hear their own words back at them, that's a tactic for dealing with prejudice in general. So when you suddenly hear your words coming back at you, it's like, oh, yeah, I guess I do kind of sound like a jerk, don't I?
But don't.
I'm not trying to be aggressive about this, but it is a valid tactic in a lot of contexts.
Yeah,
so.
I'm not, for the record, I'm not saying like, oh, so you're saying that I'm weird. Don't do that. You say, I understand. You don't want to be seen and be judged by other people for being with a guy wearing a kilt. I get it. You're afraid what your parents are going to think. I completely understand. You just say what they said back to them so they know you heard them. Not in a throw it in their face way, but in a
I wasn't trying to suggest that. But
yeah.
But sometimes
it can come off that way.
It can. You got to be careful. But I think sometimes being a mirror can help people see, they think about it from a different perspective. Like, oh, that is how that sounded, isn't it?
Yes.
And it may be that it is very, very specific. Maybe it really is a family thing as opposed to a my friends thing or vice versa. Sometimes it's just inexperience, lack of exposure to another cultural context. So it could be just a little bit of exposure, kind of boiling the frog, as they say. Okay, how about we make a compromise? I'd like to wear it for this date. And then when we do this, next week, I won't wear it. Or just get them used to it slowly, and that can help a lot. It's performance anxiety in some way. My wife for a long time was very worried about feeling underdressed with me in a kilt. She was always, and Ian's over here nodding, and it was like, she was always like, oh my God, you look so dressed up, and I'm just wearing this. And it took a while for us to like, okay, no, let's talk about that. Let's work through that. And I'm not trying to upstage you. Think of me as your accessory. So
here's how. Now Kelly doesn't watch the show, so I'm fine saying this.
You say that, but one of these days you're going to get caught.
I know. She's going to see a clip, and I'm going to be like, "Damn it, I got caught." No, but it's true, and it's the good husband thing to do. Is when if you think she might think that, when she comes into the room or is getting dressed, just say like, "Wow, you look really beautiful today." Start from that place, and then you're less dressed up if she looks, oh, this whole thing, yes, but you look beautiful. I love your hair. I love the dress you're wearing.
Yep.
It's if it is a confidence thing for I feel less dressed than you or whatever, if you're helping instill confidence in them, then they will feel less awkward. Maybe.
No, I think sometimes that, and sometimes letting them take the lead on a tone for the evening. I'm assuming like a date or something. It's like, hey, tell me what you're planning on wearing tonight. I am wearing the kilt, but I'll make sure the rest of my outfit matches you in tone. Okay? And sometimes that can be more fun, and they feel more engaged, and therefore things get better.
Or let them help you pick it out.
Right.
Like, here's my kilt. What shirt do you think I should wear? What vest should I wear? What shoes should I wear? Help me.
But I think a lot of time it really is just nervousness coming from a lack of experience, and often it's like one trigger, like it is the parents or it is a friend or a certain set of friends or something like that. And once you whittle away at what the real underlying cause of a vague statement like it's weird is, you can usually think of it as therapy. You can get the root of the problem and it'll be okay.
And the other one that it's in that same exact vein that just popped back into my head because you said that, it's if it's a longer term relationship, it literally could be something as simple as they feel like you're changing. You're doing something different. Why? Why are you changing now?
Right.
And then they feel insecure because you're doing something weird and new and different that they weren't involved in. Why do you want to do this now? So just assuaging those fears in whoever your partner is it goes a long way to just, keeping the peace and, harmony in the relationship.
True that.
Indeed.
So yeah, that's a big answer for a complicated situation. But
Yeah. But hope it helps.
any other ideas from the folks?
Oh, no, I think you covered it other than dump the girlfriend. Did you guys already address that part of it?
Yeah.
Find a new
That's the beginning.
girlfriend?
Right.
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
No,
Okay.
that's about all I had.
Cool. All right. So good luck.
Mr. Ian.
Okay, we did get a pair of questions on TikTok, actually,
Whoop, whoop.
related
Sweet.
to Welsh.
Nice to see you guys.
Related to Welsh stuff.
Cool.
I forget the username, but unfortunately, she wants to know, do the Welsh have an equivalent to the kilt? Also, what is the Welsh equivalent for the Scottish clan societies? And that was from Lelis626.
That second part is a very interesting question. I don't know the answer to per se, but was it Llewellyn?
Lelis
Lelis. Okay.
626.
The do Welsh have a kilt? Yes. Weird point of fact. The Welsh language does not have a K, so they spell kilt with a C. There are Welsh, Welsh kilting tradition, so to speak, is a newer tradition. The Welsh, there's about 35-ish Welsh tartans. They were all designed in the 1990s, similar to like the Irish county tartans, again, designed in the 1990s. So it's only 25-ish, 30-ish years old. It doesn't mean it's a bad tradition. It just means it's new.
Right.
So any thoughts on that?
I would say it's because it's a newer tradition, it is still evolving. The people who spearheaded developing the Welsh tartans, they did two things. Number one, they decided, okay, let's look at the major Welsh names and come up with a tartan for each of them, so that people who are of a family, like Lewis or Harris,
Edwards,
Llewellyn, have a tartan for themselves. And they also have a couple of universals cemented, like the St. David tartan and the Pride of Wales tartan. Glendour, named for Owen Glendour. So they tried to make sure they were hitting all the bases, right? The other thing that they did was they wanted to make it stylistically different. So they, instead of doing square shapes for the tartan set, they went with rectangles, which can mean that Welsh tartans and Welsh kilts look a little odd on close inspection. They look a little different. So those are two signifying factors. And I think the other thing is that in an effort to make sure that the look looked distinctly Welsh and different, they went for that, and some of the initial accessory ideas were a little bit on the nose and a little bit over the top. Like, and I know this was something that you were very much involved with at the time also, since the beginning of this company, was using gold as an accent, because, trying to reflect the red dragon on the flag, basically, is kind of the inspiration. And so a lot of Welsh accessories for a long time were two-tone, and what that meant, they were basically like chrome and gold, and are like, in your face, blinded by the reflection of the sun kind of thing. And so it looks young as a tradition. So some of the Welsh looks look a little young. As more people have been getting into it, and they've been toning down some of those things and there's more Welsh-themed accessories out there, and generally just a wider array of kilting accessories in general, it's much more coming into its own now. The most common time you'll see Welsh tartans is St. David's Day parades. In fact, we've done a couple of videos recently. We did one about an SMV, what we call a social media video, about St. David. And we've done a couple others where basically a lot of the footage you'll see is a St. David's Day parade somewhere in Wales, and you'll have a gentleman dressed as St. David, and he's got the St. David tartan on as part of his costume. St. David never would have known what a tartan was, but it's become a thing. So that's my basic summation.
I have a interesting story / small point of clarification.
Do you know?
Oh, I do. I
Okay.
do. It's I remember it like it's yesterday. Tony, the guy that owns the Welsh Tartan Center, he was over at a trade show. I think it was the Caucus trade show. And I went out to dinner with him.
Nice
Ellie
guy.
and I went out. Yes. And the Welsh Tartan Center, they had, I was talking to them about their jackets. They do Prince Charlie's and Argyle's, and all of their buttons are round and they are gold. Period. They did a Welsh buckle, did a Welsh kilt pin, Welsh, gold dragon on the sporran,
Right.
all these different things, and they did them in gold specifically because they wanted it to be different
Right.
than the Scottish stuff. At some point, towards the a few years in, he got enough requests for, look, I don't have anything else gold. I'd like a silver kilt pin. I don't want that one because it's gold. I want silver because I have everything else. So he eventually said, okay, fine. And he had to start carrying silver things as well as gold things.
Uh-huh.
And I remember it again like it was yesterday. We're sitting at dinner and I'm like, Tony, why don't you just do like a silver kilt pin with a gold dragon or a Welsh or a silver buckle with a gold dragon? That way you mix the metals and it could match gold or silver. And the color drained out of his face, just like, I should have thought of that. Damn it! And that's when we started doing the Welsh plaid brooch
the
and
two-tone
buckle
stuff.
and the two-tone stuff.
yeah.
And we bought it with him to get costs down, but that's when he started carrying all the two-tone stuff.
Yep.
So yes, I found that very, very amusing that it was one of those just like,
Could have had a
moments.
V8.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Welsh stuff, they designed it to be different. They didn't just want to be a copy of the Scottish heritage. They wanted to
Right.
invent it for themselves and do it a little bit different from their own.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Welsh societies. I don't know of any Welsh clan societies, so to speak.
Yeah, I don't think there's really like family things or anything. But.
Yeah, now there's a Welsh Society of Philadelphia.
Right.
I've met the president of that a few times at St. Andrew's dinner things. But there are Welsh societies. There's a Welsh parade, I want to say in Atlanta or something like that. There's a few Welsh societies and Welsh groups around the U.S. where there's pockets of
Well,
heavy
and
Welsh
especially in our
heritage.
area, and there's a larger group up towards Scranton, Wilkes-Barre, Hazleton
Okay.
area.
Cold
they-
regions.
Yeah, there were a lot of in this country. There were a lot of Welsh Quakers who came over. So we have a very strong Welsh presence here in the Philadelphia area where we are. But it's usually their study of their traditions usually goes back through the line of the Quakers coming over, not so much about like medieval Wales or anything like that. If you talk to them about Owen Glendower, they're gonna be like, a lot of them are just gonna be like, who? They don't know that their heritage story is more about this side of the pond here.
Yeah.
So I know a few of them are like, it's like, hey, Welsh people wear kilts now, and they're like, what? And some of the old timers are just kind of like, that doesn't make any sense. But
It's a newer tradition.
it is a newer tradition. It got off the ground in the 90s, but it actually there was a push for it earlier on. There's a newsreel that I have in the archive of a reporter going around somewhere in Wales.
40s or 30s, was it?
50s.
Okay.
It's like 50s or very early 60s. And he's going around. He's like, "Do you feel Welshmen should wear the kilt?" And most of them are just like, "Nah, why did you do that? That's a Scottish thing."
And we have knobby knees and yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just like, but so the interest has always been there because, my God, the Welsh are like chronologically the oldest Celtic cultural structure, Celtic umbrella identity in the UK. There were the Celtic language group settled in that area before anywhere else.
And
so they're ancient. They're ancient people. Yeah, I'm rambling.
The Welsh kind of the Welsh in America that I've interacted with, a lot of them feel kind of like the redheaded stepchildren of the Celtic world. But they're just like, you have all this Irish and Scottish stuff. Where's the Welsh stuff? Where's the Welsh stuff? So we do try to cater to that as a company. We try to cater to that audience. There's also the Cornish and the Manx and all that kind of thing as well.
Right.
But the Welsh is the one that's most common, especially in Philadelphia area.
Yeah.
And there are Welsh societies, so if you are Welsh, seek it out. Try to
it's gonna be
join other.
It's gonna be a general
groups
thing.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a general thing, not a clan thing.
Yeah.
But it is there, and more people should do it because it's awesome.
Agreed. It's all about building community.
And read the Mabahayan. I always mispronounce it, but the Welsh mythical epic Mabahayan.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do. I know enough to know that I know it exists.
My wife's gonna kill me then.
Nothing else.
You've mangled my national heritage. But yeah.
Indeed. All right. Who was that?
That was him from the
That's him?
Tickety Talk. So this one's mine.
All right, Mr. Eric.
All right. And this may wind up being the last one of the day. So this is at the risk of being redundant-ish, but not redundant. We did have... Do you want me to save this one? We're going to save that one for Al later.
Oh, okay. I'm doing another one.
All right, I'm going to do this one. Jared Powers asked us, he said, I am left-handed. Which side should I be wearing the fly plate on? I know traditionally it's on the right. It's not traditionally on the right, Jared.
Right. If you're looking at me on camera right now, this is my left, your right, or right camera. Yeah.
Here.
Yeah. You wear it on your left shoulder, right as you're looking at the person.
Right. Correct.
So yeah, that's traditionally where you wear it. The fly plate isn't something traditional necessarily. It's a way to harken back to the Great Kilt. But if you are getting, gussied up in your Prince Charlie or your Argyle for wedding, something like that,
right,
and you wear a fly plate, it's typically on the left shoulder. Now, here are the sticky wickets. One, if you are retired military or active military and you want to wear medals, I would wear the medals at the proper location, and I would either forego the fly plate altogether, or I'd wear it on the other shoulder. It's not the end of the world. There's no hard and fast rule. You're not going to be drawn and quartered for wearing your fly plate on your right shoulder, not the left. But the military medals would take precedent in my mind. I didn't serve in the military, so I didn't have that problem. For my wedding, I wore a fly plate, and the issue that I had was my boutonniere was right there. And it kind of, got in the way with the fly plate. So I just took the boutonniere and moved it to this side. Don't overthink it. Don't worry about it. Don't crowd it. It's already a lot going on. Leave it by itself with a plaid brooch on this shoulder and other things here. Or if you're going to wear medals, them over here and the fly plate over here, or just off entirely.
Yeah, very much. Yeah, historical context-ish. The fly plate is basically a accessory just to look dashing. It basically turns you into Super Scott. It looks flowy and looks awesome. Dun, da, da, da. But it is supposed to harken back to a great kilt. And there is a precedent-ish for it being on your left shoulder, and that is pre-modernly, if you are not right-handed, you were made to be right-handed. If you're not right-handed naturally. And so you would have the bulk of the fabric of your filamore over here so that you could draw your weapon and have your arm free to move. And you'll find this in other period costumes also, where if there was a lot of decoration, it was over on this side so that your fighting arm was not hindered. And just the arm you're doing stuff with, it's not even just weapons, it's just like practicality.
Yep.
So there's a reason why when you see historical images of people in a great kilt or anything, it's on the left, because that was just out of the way if you had to do something. But
and getting their phone out of their utility pouch
exactly
in their great kilt way back when William Wallace had to call in for reinforcements.
Well, once we have the Star Trek communicator pin plaid brooches, that won't be a problem anymore. You just tap on your plaid brooch. Like,
beam me up, Scotty. Huh?
Yep.
No. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we have time for one more. Ian, do we have anything else?
Sure. We can come up with another one here.
Why, sure. Yeah, sure thing, boss.
I'll invent one. These are all fake people anyway. No one's actually asking questions. They're all bots.
So,
why are kilts?
From Brian Baldwin, my wife and I are attending a wedding. Wife is playing bagpipes for it and will be in uniform. Should she change for the reception or go with the uniform? Note here, reception is black tie.
Oof.
Wife is bagpiper in uniform. I'm assuming kilt uniform type thing. She is not the bride.
Correct, I assume.
I'm assuming that'd be
that'd
awkward.
be kinda
Play
neat.
yourself down the
That'd
aisle.
be kind of neat.
That'd be kind of
actually.
badass.
That'd be kind of cool.
Little vein,
But,
maybe. I don't know.
I can't trust any of the rest of you sons of bitches to do it. So, it's my answer is going to be wishy-washy, context-driven. There's a couple of different ways I would go with it. Do you want to talk first?
If it's black tie,
I mean, I guess it's a church wedding also. If the reception's going to be black tie,
yeah,
then.
I'd probably do an outfit change if I were her. I would probably pipe it in, and I would feel
Right.
possibly a little awkward. If there's like hundreds of kilts there, maybe then not. But if all of the women are in ball gowns and that kind of thing, and I would feel out of place to a degree. So I would probably change if I were her.
Maybe.
Not. Yeah.
I mean, I think it depends on how close they are to the wedding party. How much do you care? Is one way of thinking about it. There's a couple different ways to think about it. That would be one. It's like if it's just gonna, and I'm assuming that she is definitely going to be asked to pipe the new couple in to the reception. So there will be a period of time where she wants to be in uniform, unless you want to use the pipes and be in a gown, sure. But I would assume there's something like that happening. If you're just attending the wedding and you're chill, and you're just gonna kind of be laid back at the reception, and you're not super close to the wedding party, then maybe you don't worry about it. But if you want to go and have more fun because it'd be more fun to be in a gown, then you can change. I think it's going to be a question of logistics to a degree. Is there a convenient place for you to change at the reception venue? Is there drive time between the church and the reception? Or do you have time to stop somewhere and change because you're not actually going to be piping them in, so that you're not going to be performing, in which case it doesn't matter. Find out what exactly you're expected to do at the reception, and then make that your starting point. And if you want to wear the uniform because you love how you look in the uniform, by all means wear the uniform. That is having a piper at the wedding is a point of honor to begin with. So nobody should look askance at you wearing the uniform for the remainder of the evening, because you are the piper. They're supposed to pay you. There's
your hired gun.
Yeah, the whole thing about paying the piper, that's a real thing. So they're actually supposed to offer you a drink and actually pay you and make a big deal out of paying you for your services in the reception if you're being traditional. So you can play it that way. But if it'd be fun to like get the piping into the reception over with and then hop off to a back room somewhere and change, then fine. The uniform could be hot.
Yeah.
You might want to wear something lighter because you're just done with the heat.
You started touching on it, and that's kind of where my brain was going when you were speaking, was, are you expected to pipe them into the reception? If the answer is yes, then maybe I wouldn't necessarily change, because I'm already there. I'm already still doing the thing, and then at that point, maybe a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
If there's time between, generally you do the wedding, then there's the photographs, and then you go to the reception a couple hours later. So you have time to get changed, and the area, if you go back to the hotel, then sure, it's easier. If it's easier on it, then sure. If it's less easy and you're comfortable in your bagpipe attire and nobody cares, then fine, great, still wear it.
Yeah, I mean the uniform is a point of honor. And they should see it as such. So nobody should look askance at you choosing to wear the uniform all night if you want to.
Yeah.
You're upholding tradition. But yeah, your mileage may vary in terms of what's more comfortable.
Yeah, my original question, for the record, original answer is more like what she's comfortable with, not what other people are thinking of her wearing it or not.
I mean, if the wedding is like here in Pennsylvania in August, I'm changing wiping uniform for sure. So.
All right. Boys and girls, question of the day. I don't have any in my brain right now. Eric, you had one earlier that you talked about. What was your question of the day?
I completely forgot. I had one 2 hours ago. I should have freaking written it down.
All right. Summer kilt. Yes.
Yeah, that was it.
Yes. Thank you, Matt, who didn't just put that on a sign and throw it up in my face. Are you traveling this summer? If so, are you wearing a kilt? Where are you traveling to, and are you going to wear a kilt on your vacation or on your travel plans?
Yeah.
Let us know in the comments. Thank you for tuning in, boys and girls. Until next time, Slàinte mhath.